So I've had a handful of people ask us how the pig ended up turning out. Now that the dust has settled a little bit and we've had an opportunity to try everything, I figured I'd talk a little bit about that today. So if you're new to this channel or just didn't really follow the pig adventure, some of the backstory to this is we went in with some of the neighbors to raise pigs for the first time this year. Well, it was the first time for us. They've done it for many years, but it gave us the opportunity to get our feet wet without too much of a commitment. When it came time to get down and butcher these animals, we took care of all that. We did end up taking some cuts into the butcher to get processed. For example, we did one ham this year. The other ham we cut into steaks. We took our bacon in, and we ended up taking a lot of our scraps in to get breakfast sausage made out of it. So we've never taken anything into a butcher shop before, just generally because of the cost. I hear a lot of guys say they take their deer and it ends up costing them, $200 or $300 to get it processed. So every time we've ever gotten a deer, we've always processed and dealt with it all ourselves. However, it became pretty apparent that our smokers were not big enough to fit the ham, and I was a little scared about wrecking the bacon this year. I figured I'd save that for next year's learning curve. So we ended up taking that in, and since we were already taking that stuff in, we didn't have that much scrap to get breakfast sausage made out of, so we just decided to throw that in there. So in the end, it ended up costing us $60 to get all that stuff processed. So I tried really hard to look at this with a level head. For example, when we got our first original laying chicken hens, the first thing I did was take an egg, crack it open from the store, and crack one that came straight out of our coop and do a side-by-side taste test. And to be honest, I didn't notice that much of a difference. I think the biggest area I noticed was just in the color of the yolks and not necessarily a huge difference in flavor. However, with this pork and any pork that we've ever bought in the past from the grocery store, there is a huge difference. For example, every once in a while we'll go out and buy a pack of pork chops, and after it gets done cooking, a lot of the times the very first thing I do is cut off the fat that's often on the outside edges because it's so rubbery and it's just not very good. And all these cuts, the stuff, it just melts in your mouth. It's just bursting with flavor. I mean, I am sold. To me, there is a huge difference between store-bought and the stuff that we raise out of our backyard. And I'm not really sure why that is. I don't know if it's because of like the lifestyle of the animal and what that animal ate, or if it's because it's so fresh. Like a lot of our scraps and stuff that came out of our garden all went into that pig pen. Same with a lot of our neighbors. So these animals ate very well. So if you were to ask me if we would do this again, my answer is absolutely. The meat was phenomenal. However, if we weren't able to do it with our neighbors, we would definitely still do it, but it would be a little bit more difficult. I think the two key tools that really helped make life easier was having a tractor with a front end loader on it and having that meat bandsaw. If we didn't have the meat bandsaw, we'd have to process it, I'm assuming, very much similar to a deer or with a hand type saw, but we definitely wouldn't end up with as nice professional looking cuts on the pork chops and of course the pork steaks. And then having that tractor was definitely a very nice thing, because when the execution part happened, you'd have to be a little bit mindful of being able to get that animal either moved or pretty close to a pulley type system so you could hang it and get everything kind of processed and dealt with. So those were two key tools for this project. But if we don't end up doing this with our neighbors in the future, I think it's something we still plan to do. So there's one other thing I wanted to touch on real quick. Many videos back, I did somewhat of a treasure hunt, kind of reliving my grandpa's story of Captain Deadeye, and we sent my daughter on this little journey. And in one of those videos, BC Truck left some sort of comment, something in regards to finding a treasure map to the bacon and stuff. And since we got a freezer full of bacon and stuff, well, I figured we'd send him on a little journey too. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.